anybody garnering for the presidency in 2022 or any other year, unless you get your troops to respect the presidency, do you expect to sit on a seat that has been devalued?
Let all Kenyans know that elections are far away and the country has bigger problems to deal with outside elective politics.
All right, that is Martha Karua, the former presidential candidate, and she is here. Of course, you have seen what you had said that time, but as we begin the interview, you're watching Daybreak, the show that brings you today to think about. And karibu sana, Honorable Martha Karua. And we have seen, of course, the breaking news of the death of Bob Collymore, the Chief Executive Officer of Safaricom. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
Mine is to just give my condolences to the family, the entire Safaricom community, and all those who knew him. Yeah.
All right, and I understand that there's a tweet coming from State House, Nairobi. If you can look at what it is with deep sadness that I have this morning received news of the death of Safaricom CEO Bob Collymore after years of battling cancer. As a country, we've lost a distinguished corporate leader whose contribution to our nation, to our national well-being will be missed. That's according to President Uhuru Kenyatta on the Twitter handle of State House Kenya. The breaking
I agree
news
with this entirely.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much for coming to Daybreak once again. I want us to begin from your voice on 9th of January. You were talking about that Kenyans know that elections are far away and the country has bigger problems to deal with outside politics. That was at the start of this year.
Yeah.
Now we are starting the second half of the year, and clearly they didn't listen to you because there's so much heat. What do you make of it?
I think it's been politics, 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 and as you can see, very little is going on in terms of development, in terms of passing legislation in Parliament, in terms of leaders giving direction. Instead, we are going from bad to worse. And what with the recent claims by the Deputy President that some people want to assassinate him, and all this now turning to be a whole, I should call it a fiasco or hula barrel, because it appears that the foundation of those allegations isn't just there. This is what you'd call reckless statements by people in high office. And it's really terrible because it puts the nation in a state of panic, in a state of tension. And it's really unbecoming of any leader to make allegations without serious foundation, and we hope that the investigations will confirm what really is happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll briefly look at a tweet that you shared with Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi later on, but before we do that, you were in government for about 7 years during the presidency of Mwai Kibaki.
Yeah.
Is it a possibility that disagreements within cabinet can lead to such kind of what we are told, the alleged plot of assassinating the deputy president? Can it lead to such kind of a thing in government?
I won't say it cannot or it may lead, because individuals, whether you are in government or not, you go with your character. And there are people who can plot against others. But what is shocking is an allegation like that to just be made without foundation. And why I say without foundation, I want to echo what Honorable Munya said. Is it possible for a group of 20 to 40 people to plot? Because a plot is a secret thing. The moment you plot in a classroom of 20 people, then it's not a plot.
Right.
So it appears that even the way that allegation was made, it was not serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that discussion or the exchange between Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi and yourself. That is, Ahmed Nasir tweeted saying, in light of allegations made by Deputy President William Ruto that about 4 members of the cabinet of the same tribe are planning to kill him, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta is in my considered opinion, view, must disband his cabinet or government and start afresh. I don't think this has a precedent in our history. Then you responded saying that What a joke. Why would that happen when William Ruto hesitates or refuses to make a written statement to the investigation? If tribe equals guilt, all are guilty, including you. And I'm just wondering, in the place of investigating such kind of allegations, how should you handle it? Must there be a formal complaint like has been alleged? Must the Deputy President record a statement like has been claimed by Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya?
Yes, absolutely. Why you record a statement, especially in view of such serious allegations, is for you to own the complaint. You see, you are the one with the details of why you say what you say. You are the one with the information that there's a plot against you. Who else would record that statement? There are some things that are beyond your office. As a complainant, you're just like any other complainant. Even if it means the DCI going to his office for him to record his statement, there has to be a complaint in writing. You see?
And so when we are told the DPP...
Signed by him.
Signed by the Deputy President.
Yes, to own it.
When the DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions, Nuruddin Haji, goes to Parliament and says that they are looking for assistance from the Federal of Bureau Investigations in the US to correct perception, what is wrong with our systems? Why can't we have an independent office carrying out such roles and standing the test of credibility?
I think the problem we are having in Kenya is not of our institutions in this particular matter. This is a problem of a political party called Jubilee, which happens to be in power. They are bringing their internal chaos and disagreement on the national stage. And we must ask them to stop involving us in their internal chaos, to manage their political disagreements within their party. And to Kenyans, I would want to say, electing people from a party or parties that have no internal governance, these are the sort of problems we bring to ourselves as a nation. The chaos of the political party are coming to the national stage. Yeah.
Excuse me, we'll get back to the discussion about the chaos within Jubilee Party. But first of all, from your experience within government, CS Munya says that they have been meeting with CSs from Mount Kenya region, alongside parastatal chiefs and principal secretaries. While in government of Mwai Kibaki, did you have such caucuses? Did you have such kind of meetings? What is their place in planning the development of a nation?
I don't want to say that there's a template on how members of government conduct themselves, because this looks more like a social gathering. It's not a cabinet meeting.
But they were saying that they are planning development for the region.
Now, that's a question you will have to ask them. But cabinet meetings and subcommittees of cabinet are planned within cabinet, and then you are sent into subcommittees. But that said and done, everybody has their own style of running government. And I'm sure people caucus either socially or informally. And I know that even when I was in government, we used to caucus with like-minded ministers on issues pertaining to government. It's an official, but you caucus. Sometimes at our residences, sometimes at a restaurant. And nothing wrong with that. People caucus all the time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with people holding a caucus. The excuse they give for that caucus is their business.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's an official, it's not cabinet business.
All right, let's now get into the situation we have in the country of political ambitions. We have an angry president, an ambitious deputy, and a divided Jubilee Party. So when the president is so angry and decides to speak to the members of parliament from the Mount Kenya region in his vernacular language of Kikuyu, is it justified to ask members of parliament to return to their constituencies and pursue development, yet we know that development is a mandate of the executive?
I think he was addressing members of his party, mainly. Because those, again, are the internal Jubilee disagreements coming onto the public stage. And before we just call the president angry, I would say we have angry Jubilee members. We have also an angry deputy president. He may not always display it. He once in a while displays it. But it is displayed through his supporters. So we have an angry party with angry leadership. And the members of that party are hurling accusations and counter-accusations against each other in the two camps of Tangatanga and Kieleweke. So it equals an angry national leadership. Yeah.
And so because there are people who've said that members of parliament are paid to do what they do, they politic.
Yeah.
How does that hinder the executive in executing development projects?
It actually makes everyone lose focus in a way. Members of parliament are supposed to be in parliament dealing with legislation, with the policy. They are also supposed to mobilize their constituents. You see, if the constituents are to track what the devolution money is doing, if the constituents are to give their priorities to the county government, it is not just the MCA who must mobilize them. You are elected by those people as a member of parliament. You are in the national government, but you are the ones who must mobilize them, empower them to be able to track what is happening both at county and at national level to their money.
Right.
And what I see, even in a county like Kirinyaga, when we are having a total failure in the health system, I'm not seeing the MPs on the ground mobilizing the people to demand from the county government accountability. People are busy. You don't hear them in parliament. The next time you hear them, it's in these divisive groupings making statement, and that is nationwide. It's
Right.
a reflection. So I would think of development not in terms of brick and mortar.
Okay.
I would think in terms of mobilizing people. I would think in terms of focusing the national energies on the issues that really matter to the people. But yes, the actual implementation of development agenda belongs at the county level to the county government, at the national level to the national government. But don't forget that MPs unconstitutionally are sitting on CDF, because CDF
as patrons.
Yes, that's patrons. If you are patron of implementation and a patron with undue power over the people who are making the money decisions, then there's nobody to track how you use that money. There is no watchdog on your actions. So we have misdirected our energies. MPs should be off CDF. Implementation should belong to two governments, to the government at two levels, at national and at county. And members of parliament should be having only one role, the role of a watchdog. Same with MCAs. But now we are mixing the executive and the parliamentary or legislative roles.
Okay. You said that the deputy president is also angry. And there are those who accuse him of starting early campaigns for 2022. But we have never clearly heard him say on the public podium that he is pursuing that goal. But of course, there are several members of parliament and senators who speak for him, and he never stops them. How should he pursue his ambitions or control his ambition 3 years to the next election, yet he has a mandate to deliver as part of the executive?
How can you say he hasn't said it? You don't have to say it in words. You can say it in action. If you're carrying around groups who talk in your presence and are demanding things from the electorate, you're speaking. You're speaking through your mouthpieces. So let's also not try, you know, to sweep things under the carpet. He's been campaigning. And I have said that there's no period where one cannot present their candidature. We are seeing in the US party candidates within parties declaring and beginning their sorting out. So nothing wrong with that, so long as it doesn't make you lose focus of your core duty. And I think this particular parliament has failed to focus on their core duties and are more focusing, shall I say a majority of them, because it's also not good to give a blanket statement. They are focusing more on campaigns, that they live, breathe, sleep, and wake up campaigns of their respective camps. And it's not any better if it's done by Kieleweke than when it's done by Tanga Tanga. It's all the same.
Right. Of course, before we carry on, we want to recap the breaking news this morning that Safaricom CEO Bob Collymore has passed on. He passed on at his home here in Nairobi this morning. That is on the 1st of July 2019. And what we understand is that he was suffering from acute leukemia and he had received treatment in the UK and then came back to the country. He has been receiving treatment at the Aga Khan University Hospital, and he leaves behind a wife and 4 children. And of course, we have received a statement from the chairperson of the Safaricom Limited by the name Nicholas. Of course, the news breaking this morning, demise of the Chief Executive Officer of Safaricom. And now back to studio. The story, now you are talking about Tanga versus Kieleweke, an ambitious deputy president who you say is also angry, and the president at the helm. And there has been a lot of calls from the members of the Jubilee Party that they need a parliamentary group meeting. You are a party leader, not Kenya, and in instances such as this, if you were to find yourself in such a situation, how do you call everybody to order? And would it even help, that parliamentary group in the first place? Parliamentary group meeting, would it help calm the situation in the party?
I think, to be very clear, a party is supposed to hold the disciplinary whip on its members and to whip them to toe the party line. Each party has an agenda. If Jubilee's agenda is the Big Four, or whatever agenda they have agreed on, their party members ought to and must support that agenda. And when they fail to, the party can de-whip you. It can discipline you. And the political party's law is very clear. If you show support for a party other than your party, you can be disciplined. NAC Kenya is a party that upholds discipline. If you remember 2012, we disciplined several sitting members. We even expelled. It's the court that interfered and helped them to remain in Parliament and in the council, because it was the county councils. And I'm saying that in well-mature democracies, you can be de-whipped by your party, including being expelled. And if you are honorable, you can also resign and go and seek mandate from the people. Right. Now, the problem we are having right now is that it's one party quarreling against itself. It gets support from other parties, it recruits from other parties, but this is mainly a Jubilee quarrel. A party without discipline and forms government will form a totally indisciplined government. And these are the results that we are seeing. I always say a government is as good as the political party that forms it. And I'm not just saying that about Jubilee. Look at our parties, the so-called, the big parties, if you like. Look at their internal discipline. Look at even the party with the official opposition, which ought to be holding the position of official opposition. Right. Look at them when they do their primaries. Look at them when they have internal elections. Look at the chaos. How then do we expect to have an orderly government from such political parties? So is it a problem of the politicians or the citizenry? It's of the leadership. Because if you cannot manage the internal processes of the party, you can hardly manage government. You see? And one doesn't manage it alone. It means if you subscribe to the rule of law within your party, and the rule of law within your party is following the party constitution, following the internal rules. You see? That if you have disagreements, this is how to solve them. But if people are openly defying and showing impunity within the party, you are challenging your party leaders, you are insulting them. Look at Jubilee. Even at that time, we were trying to come to their rescue in January. Look at members insulting the top leadership or talking with such impunity. Surely. And it's getting worse. It is getting worse. And in every party, we are not saying that you stifle dissent. You can differ, but you can differ with respect. Okay. And it is possible to differ even with the president. We've always differed at various levels. We used to differ with Moi, but I don't think that we stood and hurled words at him. Okay. You articulate and you criticize. You articulate your position, you criticize his position, but you don't just throw words, you know. We must differ with respect. Tomorrow, I would want to be a president of this nation and to serve it in that capacity? Do you want to sit on a seat that has already been devalued?
Okay.
Tomorrow somebody wants to be an MP, a seat already being occupied by somebody else. Treat the seat with respect, criticize the actions and the inefficiency, but do remember that that seat requires to be respected, because tomorrow you are aspiring to be a leader on that seat. And that's the same thing I would tell the deputy president. You're ambitious, you want to be president. You should be the first to whip your troops to respect the presidency. Because tomorrow, if you ever are lucky enough, and I hope not, to sit on it, then I hope not, because I don't subscribe to his brand of politics. But just in case he happens to sit on it, he would want to be respected. Yeah.
All right. At the bottom of this pyramid of confusion, obviously, is Mwananchi. Many call him Wanjiko, but some of the citizens have also been part of those political rallies. They have been attending them. They are also divided between Kieleweke Tangatanga and another one calling themselves Team Wanjiko.
Yeah.
Truth is at risk here. So how do we get out of all this confusion and the country gets back to its line of development and line of harmony, if ever we were at that line?
I think as citizens we must begin an honest conversation. And it's not about handouts, because we are at the stage. We used to say, Kanu, those days of Moi was giving handouts. May I say this is the era of handouts. Handouts to leaders, handouts to the people. The leaders deny, but we know about it, we see it. So can we think beyond handouts? Because the country cannot be taken forward by which leader gives more handouts or presents more money at Harambes, etc. It's about how you actually implement the promises you give us. And if President Uhuru Kenyatta's government is failing in implementing its projects, then the deputy president is failing too, because he is his principal assistant.
Right.
So it should be in the interest of the presidency. And the presidency is both the president and the deputy president, to ensure that amidst all this, there is enough support for the development agenda, for the legislative agenda. Look at how they have handled parliament. The 2/3 gender rule has never been implemented.
Right.
The court gave a ruling last year, is it 2017 or 2016, that the president must reconstitute cabinet to adhere to the 2/3 gender rule, because the cabinet is not compliant. They have ignored all this and many other things. You ignore one part of the constitution, however unimportant you think it is, then you're breeding impunity. And impunity is now consuming Jubilee. It's consuming the country, because every day we are now beyond shock. We keep hearing of corruption scandals all the time. The latest being the 67 billion said to have been wrongfully paid, retirees' money wrongfully paid.
Right.
And now we are being told, there are some saying it was paid rightly. If we were adhering to the rule of law, we wouldn't be hearing of these corruption, mega corruption deals.
Right.
And Parliament as the watchdog, these are the topics they should be spearheading. We should be seeing action in Parliament, not outside, you know, not concentration of politics outside. Yeah.
All right, I want to get local, because in 2017 you ran for office at the Kirinyaga County, and recently, you referred to it earlier on, we've seen the confusion at the health sector in Kirinyaga County. We've seen very disturbing pictures of Karua County Referral Hospital. I don't know how they have those pictures, Karua Referral Hospital, of the situation that was a few weeks to months ago. And now we still understand, we still have the situation of health workers in disagreement with the county government. Do you speak with Governor Waiguru?
Not at all. We are still in court, waiting the judgment of the Supreme Court. But apart from that, we are not friends.
And now, when you see such kind of images, of course, had the outcome been different, whether it was fair or not, you would have been the governor. Of course, this would be disturbing.
That situation would not be there. I want to say this without batting an eyelid, that even when I was an MP, as the MPs coming from the 4 constituencies in Kirinyaga, we used to get together, tour that hospital, and help where we could. And I would say that the washing machine that broke down, and which the county government has now replaced after the expose, was bought by Geshogo CDF. The theatre autoclave had been bought by Central CDF, and many other things by the other constituencies. If constituency money can assist at a county hospital, the governor has a bigger basket. It looks like this particular government is not budgeting for the county hospital, or is siphoning all the funds to other causes, God knows where. And it's not just the county hospital that is in that shocking state. Not a single dispensary or health facility is operational in the way we know it in the county.
And as a political leader in that county, how can you help the residents get better services?
By speaking out and telling them they must demand accountability. Just over the weekend I said that the governor and her administration may sit in their ivory towers. People will get angry. People are dying, people are suffering. There's a day people will come out with police tear gas or without.
Okay.
Like I have seen happening in the Sudan, even after the military killed 100 people.
Right.
So instead of, why ask for a job if you cannot do it?
Okay.
Why earn a salary? And this goes to all county, to all the people in the county, not just to one person. And then not do this, perform the work that you're supposed to perform for the people. Health is so critical. You cannot ignore it. And I'm challenging here also all the members of parliament and the senator from Kirinyaga. Because I'm saying, and the MCAs, you're not elected by the governor, you're elected by the people. Where are your voices? If the county government of Kirinyaga is unable to tackle health, why don't they call for help from the national government? The national government also ought not to be quiet when things are that way. They can also seek to take over the health function from Kirinyaga County.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I wish you had more time to talk about various other matters. Of course, over the weekend we saw you with Musalia Mudavadi. You were hosting him, or you were accompanying him at a meeting of the Association of Men of the Anglican Church. I don't know whether that signals anything politically.
He was hosted by the Kirinyaga Diocese.
Okay.
And when he told me he's going to my home county, I agreed to accompany him. And we found also one of the people being inducted into the Men's Association was the PS Internal Security. That was purely coincidental.
Okay.
But I know Musalia. We worked in Parliament for a long time together. And lately his brand of politics resonates well with me.
Okay.
He's been harping about governance issues, about corruption, about the ballooning debt. Those are things that appeal to me.
Might you see a political cooperation between the two of you?
Yeah, but now Kenya will cooperate. Cooperate with the ANC, cooperate with other like-minded parties. No party is an island.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Martha Karua, a former presidential candidate. I know you have so many other titles.
Presidential
and future presidential candidate for making time for us. Like I said, if we had more time, we would have focused on more issues affecting the nation. Now I want us to take a look at some of the tweets that you've been sending in regards to the breaking news this morning. If we can take a look at them. This is from President Uhuru Kenyatta on the Twitter handle of State House. It is with deep sadness that I have this morning received news of the death of Safaricom CEO Bob Collymore after years of battling cancer. As a country, we've lost as a distinguished corporate leader whose contribution to our national well-being will be missed. Someone else is tweeting, and is who? This is Raila Odinga, the ODM party leader. My condolences go to the friends and family of Bob Collymore, as well as the entire Safaricom fraternity. Bob served our country with dedication and sustained us as a communication hub in Africa. May his soul rest in eternal peace. And finally, from, I believe, Governor of Machakos, this is Eric David, said that the disease is unrelenting, an inspiration to me and to many. Rest in peace, Bob Collymore. Martha Karua, thank you so much for your time. And all the best in your activities as a political leader and so many other things that you're doing. We'll take a short break on Daybreak. We're back with Sporty Monday with Willis Raburu and his panelists. We'll be talking about everything football, including the match today between Kenya and Senegal. Who do you think will win?
Kenya.
Martha Karua believes Kenya will win. All the best.